Web application. So here, so let us think that we are developing a web application. Okay. So for developing a web application, so we need to have one data storage. Okay. So to store the data, there is nothing but a database which will store the database. So anything database or anything which will be, either it could be an RDBMS or NoSQL or anything which can store the data. And in order to get the data from here, in order to contact the database and in order to get the data from here, so we need to have a language. So that is nothing but a backend language. Okay. So in order to get the data, we have a separate language for this one. That is nothing but a SQL language. Okay. So which we get. So using the SQL language in order to get the data, so we need to have one language, that is nothing but a backend language. It can be any language. And to show the data, to present the data, okay, to present the data, so we will be using normally in the browser HTML, CSS and all those things we will be using. Not only this one, for presenting the data and also doing some user actions, okay, responding to the user actions. User actions means here whatever the user drags or drops, clicks on anything or any actions, anything. So responding to that actions, okay, we call it as an events also, responding to that actions or events, anything. So we need a language that is nothing but a JavaScript. Okay. So these all combinedly we can develop a dynamic application. Okay, it's a dynamic application. For static application means, so we don't need these all the things. So only HTML, CSS, JavaScript is fine. Why? Because all the time the data will be only static, so the data will not be changing. Here the dynamic application means, so always the data will be changing. So this is the main thing. So now coming to the database, we have wide varieties of database. That is nothing but, so you people know already, SQL Server, NoSQL and MySQL, sorry, like that we are having PostgreSQL, MariaDB, like this we are having so many things. So both are commercial and also the freeware, like that we are having open source and all those things. Coming to the backend also, we are having lot of things like open source and also the off open source, like that we are having these all things. And HTML, CSS is already open source thing and JavaScript is also an open source. So now JavaScript is a pure something like a language only. Okay. JavaScript is a pure language only. But in order to interact with the DOM, so we will be having some APIs. Okay, the DOM will be having some APIs. That APIs will be provided by the browser. So that means whenever you are trying to use a JavaScript in other than the browser means, so these DOM APIs will not work. Only when you are trying to use the JavaScript in the browser, then only the DOM APIs will work. DOM APIs will work means, so the JavaScript which interacts with the HTML and CSS, those things will work. Otherwise, these DOM APIs will not work. So who will provide these APIs is, that is nothing but browser. Browser means, so Chrome browser, Microsoft, Edge browser, these all the browsers will provide you the access for those APIs. So we will be having wide variety of APIs which the browser provides. So those called as in browser APIs. Okay, so if you search in the Google something like browser APIs, so here you will be able to see these are all the browser APIs which are provided by typically by the browser. So here you will be having audio output devices. So these are all background fetch API. So these all are provided by the browser only. So these are geolocation API. If you want to know the current location of a person means, like Swiggy, it will try to show you and pop up here, allow, disallow, like that. So that one will be done with the geolocation API. So many options are there. Okay, payment request, if you want to design a payment request, so these are all the things. Push API means notifications. So these are all the things. So these are all that provided by the browser only. So these are not inbuilt provided with the JavaScript. And in this one, this is one of the option, that is nothing but DOM API. So you will be able to see the DOM. So these are the API which we will be using more in the browser. And remaining are also we will be using HTML DOM. So this is the most we will be using. Remaining also we will be using navigation API. Depending on the requirement of the web application, we will be using these all the things. Fine. So now what I want to tell you is, So things are evolving, going on, things are evolving, and new revolutionary things are coming in the web thing. So that is the reason. So what has happened is, so everything is getting advanced. So because of that reason, so JavaScript which was there, so if you want to write the code, okay, in a pure native JavaScript, means it is difficult. It is difficult means what I wanted is, if you want to develop a complex application, so you will be having so much lot of boilerplate code that should be written. So it will be a time consuming and also hard for the developers to implement and also for the debug of the code. So in order to overcome this one, so JavaScript is a pure language, okay, and we have a frameworks, okay, we have a frameworks for this one, okay, we have a frameworks for this one. So the frameworks, we have wide variety of frameworks, both are commercial and also the open source also we are having. Out of this one, which are most common and also the most popular ones in the market is, first one is Angular, React, Vue, and Svelte. So these are the things which are getting more popular. So we can remove this one. So I will tell you only the three. So these are the three are the most popular things which are in the market. So right now, so Angular is little bit advanced for developing the complex projects. We will be doing this one, and it is developed in the TypeScript, and it heavily uses the TypeScript and all those things. So Angular is somewhat for large applications and all those things, you'll use this Angular. React is a pretty easy one, just like the Vue only. So both are one and the same only. So it's a pretty easy one. It's just a library. It doesn't have any, it's a full-fledged framework. This one is a full-fledged framework. So there is no need to go outside or download the other libraries or something like that. So it is a full-fledged framework. And here React is a library and somewhat easy. And if you want to implement some more features, means we need to download from the packages, from the package manager. And Vue is also easy. It is also very easy. And it is also a library. It's not a framework. So if you want to implement some more features, means we need to download from the package manager. Just like the NuGet manager, how we will be having a package manager. So we will be downloading it from the package manager. So these are the things. So now, so these are the things. So now these all came in the something around 2013, something like that only it had came. 2013, 1 year before and after 2013, and this one is 2014, something like that it has came. So 2014, something like that. These all came something around 2012 to 2014, something like that. Be 1 year before and after, something like that. So that means these are pretty new only. 10 years before only this has been introduced. Prior to this one, so we have another framework that is nothing but jQuery. So from decades we will be using this jQuery only. The older projects, if you will try to see, so jQuery is a JavaScript library. This is also not a framework, this is a library. So using the jQuery we used to develop the applications. So it was pretty long back. So when these came into introduction, so now also we can develop an application using jQuery, also not a problem. So right now also jQuery newer version has been came. I don't know whether 4 or 5 it is running. Why? Because people are not using. So the write less and do more JavaScript library. It's a library. I don't know what is the current version running. 3.7.1 only it's running. Okay. So this is also one of the JavaScript framework which we will be using long back. But right now, most of the companies and most of the projects are not preferred using this jQuery. Why? Because the new way of implementation has been came into the market, and the new developers are also available in the Angular and React and Vue. So that is the reason we are developing the projects using the Angular, React, or Vue. So whichever it may be, both are one and the same. Only the syntax, only the difference. The core concept and the core implementation is one and the same. So this is one thing which I want to tell you. So right now in our company we are using more in the Angular and also the React 20% something we are using, Angular we are using 70% like that in the projects. So these are the projects which we are using. And now let's try to open the Vue.js. Right now the Vue.js, the current version running is the Vue 3. So this is the Vue.js and the current version right now running is the Vue 3. So security updates for Vue 2 has been stopped for development. So if you are developing this, so just security updates only you are getting. So that means no new versions or new implementations are not implemented. Only implemented in the Vue 3 only. So Vue 3 is the latest version which has been introduced. And if you try to click on the get started, so this is the introduction. And Vue has a 2 ways of implementation of the code. Okay. So Vue 2 support has been ended in 2023 only. So we need to upgrade it to Vue 2 to Vue 3 if you are having a Vue 2 project. So that depends on the client requirement and all those things. So that so if it is came means there is no. So it has Vue 3 has some limitations also. Why we should not go to the Vue 3. So those are different things. So now we have 2 ways of implementation of the code. That is nothing but options API and a composition API. So right now I will try to explain you the options way of writing the code only. Our composition way of writing the code is the next way of writing the code. So that is not needed. So I will try to explain you in the options API. So you can check this options API. So you need to enable this button while you are reading this document. So this doc is the only thing which we will go through and we will try to learn it. So now this is the introduction. So Vue I already told, right? So here they're writing the JavaScript framework. It is not a JavaScript framework. It's a JavaScript library only. Okay. Second. Where is this gone? Hey. Are you using this one? Can I move? Okay. Second. It's a JavaScript framework. If I try to open it again in the new tab, yeah, here I can able to see it. Yeah. So now, so they are telling it's a JavaScript framework. Actually, it is not a JavaScript framework. Why they have introduced new one or what? So let's try to see it here. The Vue.js thing. It is also a JavaScript framework. They are saying. I don't know why they are saying it is a JavaScript framework. It is actually it's a library. 1 second. We'll try to see it in the Google. Is Vue library or framework? Vue is a popular JavaScript library only. So they are saying it's a Vue as a library or framework. Okay, so there's some discussion is going on whether it is a library or framework. So okay, leave it. So we'll go with these guys only. So they are saying it's a JavaScript framework. How they will justify that, I don't know. So fine. So let's go to the get started. So now, so Vue.js. So this one is a very easy one. So what is the benefit of using this one is just like the Angular. So it is a combination of the Angular and React. So it has came in development by seeing the Angular and React and its pros and cons. By seeing this one, the Vue has came. So that is the main thing. So Vue was developed by one person, Ivan, who is a former Google developer. So he was a project member in the Angular project and he was one of the team member in the Angular project, and he has seen some pros and cons of the Angular and React, and he came outside and he developed a new application. So overcoming the disadvantages of this Angular and React. So that is the reason Vue has become somewhat popular. But what I want to tell you is, so this one doesn't have that much of community support and all those things. Why? Because it was developed by a single person, but it has become famous. So now I will try to show you how we can develop this, how we can use this one. So I will try to install this application. So how we can install this application? So quick start we'll go it. Okay. And how to install this application. So here we have a command. They are trying to say we are having a command. So let's try to install this command. So by using this command, we can directly install the application. So now let's go to the browser. Okay. Now here I am going to the D block. So I will be creating a new project, new folder. Complete or something like this. I will go into this one. Command prompt. I'm opening the command prompt. So now you are able to see this one, right? Now here they told that in order to create a project, so we need to use npm create Vue@latest. Okay, so this is the command we need to write. So for this command, in order to work, you need to have the Node.js installed in your system. Okay, so you need to have the Node.js installed in your system. So by checking that Node.js installed in your system means, so you need to use node-v. So then you will be able to get the version, what is the version you are having installed. If you are not able to get this one means, that means node is not installed in your system and the command which I have typed earlier, it will not work. So if you want the Node.js means, so just you can go to the Node.js. So you can go to the homepage, Node.js homepage, and you can download this LTS version. Don't download the latest version. Okay, 20. So want new feature sooner, get 22.5 it is there, right? So don't install this one. So the main button which they have given, the LTS long-term support, only install this one. Okay, so this one we need to download it. So now after downloading this one, it will ask you some series of installation steps like next, like that. So you can go through the steps and you can install it. It will install in Windows. It is very easy. You can install it very easily. It's not a problem. All the people having Windows system only, right? So you can install it very easily. So fine. So now after installing the Node.js, so then you can open the command prompt and type this command node-v. Then you will be able to see this type of version. So I have installed 20.15.1. So right now the LTS version is 20.16.0. So one version is a little bit upper. So not a problem. So anything will be fine. So now we have the Node.js installed in my system. Now I can use this command npm create Vue@latest. That's it. So now latest means the latest version it will be installed. So that is the only command, right? They have given. Yeah, quick start. Let's go to the quick start. And npm create Vue@latest. So now if you try to use this command, and now if I try to press enter, it will ask you some series of questions about the project, related to the project. Yeah, did I press enter or not? So now after pressing enter, it will ask you some series of questions about the project. So you need to answer those questions. I will try to show you what are the questions it will ask. It will try to check some time. So let it take. So it will ask you some series of questions like what is your project name? So we need to add the support or not. And these are all the things it will ask you. So then afterwards we will try to check it. It will ask you. Yeah. You need to install. So now here when I am trying to install this one, so I don't have a project or something like that. Create Vue 3.1.0. So I don't have a version installed in my system. So if you are asking this one means, so you can proceed, press enter directly. So it will try to install it, not a problem. So now it will ask you some series of questions. So what is the project name? So let's say that my project name is sample project. Okay, sample Vue project. So the name which we are trying to create, you can give the project name and press enter. It will ask you, do you want the TypeScript support? So you do. So right now you are not learning about the TypeScript. So you can just press enter. No. And do you want the JSX support? JSX support means it's a React syntax thing. So you want no, you want yes or no means, so no, you can just the no will be selected by default. You can press enter. And you want the Vue router for a single page application development means, so right now we don't have any, we don't want, so we will set up it separately manually. So we will press no. So anything, nothing. So we don't want PNE also. So just now we need to have a bare application. So we don't want these all the things. For unit testing, do you want the white test means? So no, I don't want these all things. End-to-end ETE testing also I don't want. So these are all the things we can set up manually. So ESLint, if you want to, for the code quality means, if you want you can do it, or otherwise no, I will take no only. So Vue DevTools 7 extension for debugging means, so no, we don't want anything. So just you can take only the version. Okay. So here it is telling that I have 2.20.15. Something like that, right? So new version, minor version has been came. It is asking me to install the npm thing. So not needed. So if you install the latest one means, it will not say you, it will not tell you these all the things. So fine. So now we got done. Now what it is telling is, it is telling to go to the project. Okay. So you go to the project, cd sample, and I am going into the project. Here this is the project. If you want to open this one, you can open it in the Visual Studio Code. So let's go to the Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I am going into the Visual Studio Code. So this is our Visual Studio Code. So I am opening the project, open folder. This much small, it's coming, I don't know. What is the name we have kept it? Vue-project here. And so only we have kept the file name. What is that one? Vue-complete. Vue-complete. In this one we have selected the sample project. Select folder. Okay, fine. So now we have selected the folder. And here you will be able to see this is all the code which we are having it. So right now, so leave it this all the things. So now here the command prompt I have opened. Now we have entered into the project. So now you can check the next. So we have entered into the project and it is telling to install the packages. Fine. So let's install the packages for this one. So I will try to type the command npm install after entering into the project only. So you need to go into the project application folder and then you need to type the npm install. So now it will try to install all the supporting packages which are involved. So what are the supporting packages it will install is, I will try to show you. Let me close this. So those all are present in the package.json file. So here we are having some Vue 3.4 version it is installing, and plugin Vue and Vite. These are all the things it is installing. Vue is in task runner tool. So this one is the compilation task runner tool. So it will bundle all the files and all those things. So this is a separate thing. Just like the compiler which we will be having .NET compiler, like that Vite is a compiler for the Vue.js. So this one will convert your Vue.js code into a plain JavaScript. Ultimately, JavaScript is the only thing which we need to convert. Instead of writing the plain JavaScript in our own, so we will write in our latest framework, and this Vite compiler will try to convert into a JavaScript code. So fine. So these are all the compilers and all those things will be get installed in your project. So it will take some time to install. Let it install. So by that time, so let's try to see the next one. So up to here we have started the project. So the recommended IDE setup is Visual Studio Code with Vue extension. These are all things it is saying. So you can able to see this one. So that's the remaining thing. So we'll try to run it after installing. We'll try to run it. I will try to show you. Let's try to see these all things are not needed. Yeah, fine. So now, so we have installed this one. So now let's try to run the project. So if in order to run the project, what we can do it is, so here these are all the packages that has been installed. So those packages installed here, it will be in the node modules folder. So these are all the projects, these are all the dependencies and all those things which has been installed for this project. So fine. So now if you try to see here, so these are the three commands which you will be having. So now what is the command we need to type is, in order to check the project, in order to run the project. So you can use npm run dev. Okay. So this is the command which we need to run. So npm run dev. If you try to run this one, so now it will take some time to compile the project. So now the Vite compiler came and it is running, and you will be able to see a localhost 5173, a URL has been given to this one. Let's try to run it. So now if I try to open this one, localhost 5173, right? 5173. So this is the port, and now you will be able to see, yeah, fine. So now we are able to successfully run the project. Okay, you have successfully created a project with Vue. Vue is a compiler and Vue 3 is the current version which we are running, and the official documentation, tooling and all those things they are giving. So this one is the home page. Now we have successfully installed the project. So now if you try to see here, so now it is running. So you can close this one or minimize this one. So it will be running in the background. So whenever you are trying to create the project, you can create, whenever you are trying to change the project or anything, so automatically the code will be executed. So here I will try to make it as an half screen so that you will be able to see. And this one, right? Yeah. And here I will keep it like this so that we can check it in the side by side. Yeah, so this is the project, this one is the output, and this one is the project. Now this is the output which we are able to get it, right? This output where we are getting it is, let's try to see the folder explosion. So .vs code is that this one editor files. Node modules is the dependencies which we have installed it using the npm install command. So there is nothing to do with these two folders, and this is the public folder. And here the public folders, if you are having any images, any static files, something like that, images or anything, if you want to keep it, means you need to keep it in the public folder. So here fav icon, so one image they have kept, that is nothing but Vue logo image. So this one icon, one image is there. So if you are having any project side images or anything, means you can keep it in this public. So anything you can have it. And here you will be able to see a git ignore file. So that is nothing but git related to the git. And this is the main core file, index.html. So which it is trying to load. So here this is the index.html file. If you try to see the code for this one, the same code which you are trying to see, this code, the same code you will be able to see it here. Source module, source main.js, the same code you will be able to see. So this is the booting file or the render file which it will be appeared in the website. Now you can able to understand that. So there is only some little bit of HTML only. So why this much of code is there, means I will try to show you. That one is a different thing. So now this is the index.html, means this is the entering file or bootstrap file, whichever it may be, you can say. So this is the main file. And config.json means this one is the configuration file, compiler options for the compiler thing. So which one we need to exclude node modules and which one we need to take. So the compiler should be taken source file. So that means this is the main folder. I will come to that folder. This is the main folder which the compiler has to compile it. And node modules dist folder. So right now we don't have the dist folder. So the dist folder we can create it when we are trying to move it to the production. So those folders is excluded from the compilation. Why? Because those are already compiled files. And we are having a package.json file and the package log.json file. So log file means it is already created with the package.json. When you try to do the npm install, a log file will be created, caching all the dependencies and all the things. So that when you try to type the command again npm install, it will try to take the reference from this log file. So whether the packages are installed or not, same versions, then it will not take it from the internet again. So it is saving the time. So this is the package.json. Whenever you want to create, what I want to tell is, install the new dependency or the new library or the new library or anything, if you want to install it, means then you need to add the dependency here. I will try to show you those all things. And this one is an readme file, which is useful for the git and all those things. And here this is the vite.config.ds. So this is the Vite I told you, right, Vite compiler. This is the configuration file for that compiler. Okay, so this is the configuration file. That's it. So this is all totally outside which is available. So these are all, there is no need for us to change these all configurations and all those things. So this is a different thing, far more advanced thing. And the only thing which you will be working more is the source folder. So this is the folder which you will be working more. And this one is the assets. Assets means nothing but whatever the CSS files and all those things you will be having it, right, which you want to apply it globally. So those all things you will be applying it in the assets. And here you will be having another one is the components. Okay. So this one is the components thing. And if you try to see the index.html, here only one JS file is referencing. That is nothing but a main.js file. And main.js file is the bootstrap file to enter into the Vue compiler. So now here you will be able to see globally the main.css file has been imported, and we are calling a function, importing the function that is nothing but create app, and this is a method create app, and we are sending the app. App is nothing but this component. I will try to tell you what is this components and all those things. So this is a component actually. This is a Vue component. We call it as a component, this one. And we are mounting it to hash app. Hash app means we will be having a div ID in the index.html with an ID app. So now whatever the code is there, or whatever the code we are trying to write, the components will be rendered in between this div. Opening and the closing div, it will be rendered here. So that's why, so now here in the Bootstrap we are telling create app using this component. So we are the app component, that is the main parent component. App is the parent component, and we are mounting it to the div. So whatever the component code is there here, that component code will be rendered into this index.html code. So here into this index.html. So that is the main thing. So that's why you are able to see this all code. So this you did it, you successfully created project. These are all the things coming from the app component. So this is the home page. You will be able to see, and inside this one you will be able to have so many components. And here this is the image you are having it, right? This is nothing but the main image. This is the image. I will try to remove this one. Then I will save this one. Now you will be able to see the logo has been gone. Okay, now the welcome. So the welcome and all those things, if I try to remove this welcome thing, let's try to see. And the documentation and all those things will be gone. And hello world, so you did it, you successfully created. These all the things are coming from the hello world. If I try to remove this one, so enter thing gone. So that means, so this is the template which is responsible for we are getting the output. So that's why I told you, right? So this is the parent component. So this is all the code which is getting executed. So in Vue.js point of view, this one is called as a component. I will try to explain you this how this component is there. So now let's go to our Vue.js thing. So this is how we will be creating the project first. So this is how we will be creating the project, and we have seen it. Now what I want to tell you is, let's go to the next option, that is nothing but creating an application. Okay. So one second. So fine. So now here, so now I told you, right? Here this is the main entry file, this one. So they are explaining you this component. So the root component, the parent component which I have told you, that is nothing but the app component. So this one is the app component, is the root component. Now mounting the app, I told you, right? Mounting the app. So this in between this one, so the mount app. So here we are mounting the app into this one. What is this? Into the hash app means in the div ID is good app. So the code will be mounted into this one. So this is the thing. Now let's try to see the code. So how we can create a component and all those things, I will try to explain you. So now let's try to go into this one. I am deleting these all the components and all those things. So here whatever the things they have created, I am deleting this entire thing. Continue. I will delete this entire components. Delete it. So app.vue, and here also I will delete this entire component code. Okay. So this entire component I am deleting it. Now what I want to do it is, so I will try to show you a simple code which we can develop it. Okay. So now let's try to do it. So here this main.js code is there, the app is there. So now here, if you try to observe carefully, I will try to maximize somewhat content so that you can able to see it clearly. Simple component I will try to create it for you. Let's app.vue. So this is the main root component I am telling you, right? So now the app.vue, the component should be created with an app.vue. The extension will be .vue. Now in this component, how we will be writing it is, the template, the component will be divided into 3 sections. First one is the HTML code which you need to write it in the template. Okay. So in between this one you need to write the template. So now if I try to write it here, div hello world, then if you try to see the output for this one, where is this output? So you will be able to see hello world here. So whatever the code HTML you write it in between this template, then that code will be rendered here. And if you want to interact with this one CSS and all those things, means then you need to write the style. Okay, here you need to write the style. So automatically you should keep it as scoped so that the CSS will be applied to only to this template. To other component it will not affect. I will try to show you that one. So now for this div you want to apply it means, so div I can write it and I can write color of red. Now you will be able to see the red color has been applied to this one. So that means whenever you want to write the CSS, you need to wrap it with a style, and whenever you want to write the HTML, you need to wrap it with a template. And now you may be getting doubt that where I need to write the JavaScript. So here the JavaScript will be written in the script. Okay. So here this is the script. And now you can remove this entire code. So automatically my snippet is writing that code. So now here in this script, in this code, you need to write it. So the syntax for this one is, first one is export default. So we need to export this code, and here we need to write it like this. And now, so here some multiple options will be there. Here this is an options API, right? Options code we are writing it. So now if you want to define the properties or define the variables. So let's say that in JavaScript, if you want in any language, if you want to define the variables means where x is equal to 1 or where y is equal to 1, like that we'll define it, right? So here the defining of the variable is different. So how you will define it is data. So we need to use the data object, and in this data you need to return the value, and here you need to write it title is equal to hello world. So this is the variable. Now title is the variable. Now how can I use this variable in the HTML means, so here I have used the static hello world, right? I can remove this one and I need to use the curly braces like this. Okay, so double curly braces and closing like this, and I can use this variable directly title. Now if you try to see the output, the same output you will be able to get. Now if I try to write it here some data means, then also you will be able to see the same data. So that means this is the variable and I am referencing here. So now these three are interlinked to each other. This is the component. This is called as a component. Now for example, let's say that I am having a count. Let's say that I am having a count. Count is 0. Sorry, you should not keep the semicolon here. Count 0. And now here I want to display the count. Okay, count. So here I will be having the variable count. Okay, now you will be able to see the count is 0. So now I want to increment the count. So I can have two buttons. So I will have the two buttons. I will be having the two buttons. Button increment and also the another button decrement. So I can have two buttons. So upon clicking on this button, I want to increment it. Upon clicking on this button, I want to minus by 1. So for this one, what we can do it is, previously we used to have an event listeners for this one and we need to implement it. So here you can have here the syntax is, if you want to add to this event listener means, so we have a syntax that is nothing but @click. Okay, you can add an @click is equal to, and you can add a method increment. So this method we will be writing it. I will try to show you where we can write it. And you can have a method that is nothing but decrement. Okay, so this is the method which you will be writing. So these are the two methods which we are having. Right now there is no implementation of this one. So now if you try to see, refresh this page and go to the inspect element and you try to see the debugger. And if you try to see the console thing, let's see this one. Yeah. If I try to click on this increment thing, and now here you will be able to see an error. That is nothing but increment is not a function. So why? Because increment method we haven't implemented anywhere, and it's telling increment is not a, if I try to click it, decrement is not a function. So that means compiler is not able to understand where is this increment and decrement functions implemented. So how we can implement this method in our Vue.js code. So the syntax entire thing will look somewhat new to you. So just if you try to practice it, then you can able to understand. So here we need to have a separate property, that is key, that is nothing but methods. So we need to add it methods like this, not method, methods. And here in this method, we need to implement the increment. Okay, increment. And the another one which you will be having is the decrement. Okay, so decrement. So now we need to keep a comma for this one. So now if you are having an increment method here, okay, so now what I can do, I want to access this count variable and I want to make it as a +1. So how can I access this variable is, that is nothing but this dot count is equal to this dot count plus 1. So you can use the plus plus also, just I am trying to show you. So this dot count is equal to, so you need to access this variable using this dot count. This means it refers to this instance. And here decrement means you can use this dot count is equal to this dot count minus 1. That's it. So now if you try to refresh this page, and if you try to increment this one, see it is incrementing, and if you try to decrement this one, it is decrementing. So this is how we will be implementing the code for this one. Okay. So now let's try to. System is become slow. I don't know. So now. Where is this one? So we are creating an application, right? So this is how we will be writing the code. So this one is the one way of options implementation of this code. So now we have an what I want to tell you is we have another way of implementation of this one also. Okay. So that is nothing but an composition API. So that one is a different thing. So that one is a different thing. So right now we are not using in our projects. So if you want to tell me means I will also tell you that syntax also. That one is a different syntax. So which you will be able to have. So I will try to tell you that syntax also. So now let's say that, for example, let's say I want to implement the same code. Where is this one? Where is this one? Yeah. So I want to implement the same syntax using the what I want to do is using the composition API. So that means another way of implementation of this code. So this one is one syntax which you have learned it. I will try to comment out this entire thing. Okay. This entire thing. Or otherwise I will remove this one. So now I will comment out this one. So now what we need to do it is, so I will remove this one. I will paste it in the notepad++ so that we can have this implementation. We can see this implementation and that implementation also. Now I will try to implement the same scenario in a different syntax. So first one is, so what we need to do it is, so export default is the common thing. Okay. Export default is the common thing. I will try to tell you the next scenario also. So now we have a variable here. Okay. So in order to have a variable to be referenced to the template means, so what we need to create is, we need to create a variable constant count is equal to ref, and this ref should be imported from the Vue. So ref means it's a reference variable and it should be only the variable which should be referenced will be used in the template. So here you can give a default value, that is nothing but 0. So this is one variable. So we have used it, and this one we are getting, why this one is getting is, so we need to wrap it in a setup method. Okay, this is the setup method. We need to wrap it in a setup method. So then only this code will be executed. So whenever this template is executing means whatever the logic you are writing in the setup, that code will be executed. Now this one is one code, and now here we are having two methods, that is nothing but what are these two methods? Increment and the decrement, right? So in order to implement this increment and decrement, how we can implement this one is, so these are also methods, constant, increment. So this one is also one method, and this one is some function, and you can have it like this. And here I can do the count plus plus. Okay, so you the count is equal to count plus 1. This one you are having it, right? I will try to tell you that code will not work. I will try to tell you constant decrement is equal to, this is one method, and here you can use count is equal to count minus 1. Okay, now if you try to see here, so this is the code we are having it, right? Now if you try to click on this one, nothing will be working. So nothing is working, but the code what we have written is fine. So if you try to see in the console, we are able to see that still it is telling that increment is not able to find, and these all the things it is saying. So if I try to use it, so nothing is working here. Here it is telling that count is also I am not able to access. So that means this count variable which I have referenced, that one also I am not able to find it in the instance it is telling. So now whatever the variables or the methods you want to expose it to the template. So what we need to do it is, so in this setup method, we need to return those things. So here you need to return those count and increment and also the decrement. So now you need to expose these all the three things to the public. Now you will be able to see that 0 has been appeared. So now we are not getting any errors, and now the 0 is getting, and if you try to increment this one, now we are getting a output that constant assignment to a constant variable. Here we are getting the issue again. So why? Because we have referenced this variable as constant, but we are updating the constant. Constant should be always the constant, right? So we are updating. So for example, let's say that we will console this constant. What is the value we are having in this constant? So it should have a 0, right? So let's try to see this one. So now if I try to increment this one, so here you will be able to see this one is a reference variable, and this one is holding a value inside this one. So dot value, it is holding a value inside this dot value. So that means we should not update this count directly. We should update the count dot value. We should not update this count dot value, and we can get the value using count dot value. And here also the count dot value, and here this one is count dot value. That's it. Now if you try to check the output for this one, let's try to see the output. Increment, we are able to increment it, and decrement, we are able to decrement it. So that means now we are able to successfully implement this one. So we can also minimize this code by making this one as setup here at the top, and now there will be no need for us to implement this all the things, and we can remove this one all the things, and also we can remove this return also. Now then also this code will work. Okay, so now then also this code will work. So these are the different ways of writing this Vue.js. For the first time you may be finding it a little bit difficult. So here this is how we will be implementing. So now this is the code which we will be having. Now I will try to write it again so that you can able to understand. So now the first syntax we have written it, right? Setup method. Without setup method I will write it. Script setup. So like this you need to have it. Now just we are using the template variable. Okay. The template variable, one variable we need to use it in the what I want to say in the template, right? So then you need to introduce this one. You need to wrap it with the ref that should be imported from the Vue at the top. And now the ref variable we have created it, and we need to give a value to the variable name. So count value is there, and we are having two methods, increment and decrement. Okay, fine. Let's implement this. Increment is equal to, this is a function. Okay, and also you can write it as a function also. That's not a problem. Function increment, you can use it like this also, which you know commonly. Function. So that one is the latest syntax which we will be using it. So you people find it difficult. So you can have two functions. So you can implement the function, and here you should not use the count dot value plus 2, and here you need to do it count dot value minus. So just I have elaborated for you. So this is a simple code. Now if you try to refresh this page, so then also the increment will work, and then also decrement will work. So this is the code how you will be writing it. So that depends on your syntax and all those things. Now this is another syntax which you will be able to see it. So now if I try to copy this one, and paste it here, let's try to see this one. So here this is another way. So here the properties and all those things, here we need to mention it with the ref, but here we need to add it with the data. And here the methods and all those things you can directly implement it here, and here you need to write it with the methods. So you people now have to decide, so which syntax is easier for you and which way of learning you want to learn. So according to that one I will explain, we will proceed with this type of syntax only. Now ball is in your code. So which syntax for you is easier? You people all are there. Up to now you have listened that thing.